this week, Friday, December 6th, we're going to have our next retreat, and it's going to be on spiritual empowerment. And, most of us on planet Earth struggle with issues of power. And, you know, we spend our life chasing after outward forms of power. And of course, on this retreat, we're going to talk about the inner forms of power, the power to have control over oneself. Like, that's a big deal on the spiritual path. It's really hard to be on the spiritual path if we have addictions. But again, most people think of power in terms of like outward means. If we have a lot of wealth or prestige or status, the whole world is chasing after power in this department. And whenever you're in a relationship, you'll see there's all these little power dynamics, sometimes massive power dynamics in relationships between husbands and wives, and partners and sisters and brothers, and mother and child, or father and child, or whatever. Even among Sangha members, I see, sometimes there's people who are fighting, to be close to the guru, or, different people fighting within the Sangha. And, if you ever walk into a room and if you could look psychically, you could see that there's all these energies where people are reaching out to others and wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to be acknowledged, or wanting to assert themselves. And, I've been on many retreats where people broke down in tears over a seat, just wanting to sit somewhere, like having their seat in some kind of special place. And, sometimes if retreats get crowded, someone's seat might get moved. And, we've all had this. I've seen this in yoga studios too. A lot of people coming into the studio and someone moves your mat. And, I've seen people just lose their mind, over these little power games. And so there's this whole psychology of power. And of course, there's this whole soul development, like an archetypal soul development that we're going to explore. And we'll be looking at, different forms of power, like the power to be impersonal, to see life from the vast view. There's the power to love and to respond with love to people who've been angry or mean or, obnoxious toward us. Of course, there's the power of forgiveness. There's the power of compassion. My mother does this thing where my mother's kind of been outspoken. She has a big voice and a big presence. And, sometimes she gets herself in trouble just for being big. And so then she goes on a mission to really flood the person who's attacking her or judging her. My mother goes on this mission to flood them with kindness. And, sometimes she'll spend like a couple years just trying to be kind to a person, to win them over. And she does. We'll also look at, the power of our will, and, like, when is the time to truly assert ourselves? So there's the time to let go, and that's a power, knowing when it's time to let go. And also this power of knowing when it's time to stand in your truth, to speak your truth, or how about to tell your truth? And we spoke about that a couple satsangs back. And so I'm looking forward to this retreat. And this retreat is probably going to have a lot more inquiry and little inquiry groups and meetings and private inquiry sessions with yourself to really investigate, your issues and how you kind of struggle with power, how we all struggle with power. And when we study ourselves, it helps us to understand, well, what's going on with others, what's going on with the world. And it helps us to be compassionate toward the world. And so I hope you can join December 6th through the 8th. That's this coming weekend, 2024.